Hello, YouTube, and welcome to another episode for a quick guide on how to get started with a free 3D parametric modeler, which is a free alternative to Autocad that can cost you thousands of dollars. This is a free open software, and this will be presented to you by the Software Advisor, where we empower individual businesses, owners, and with free open source productivity tools. With that, let's go ahead and step into today's presentation. So what I'm going to be presenting to you, it's an application called FreeCAD. As I mentioned, it's an alternative to AutoCAD, which, as you may know, this is the AutoCAD website. It can cost you anywhere from $1,600, $1,700 a year, and you can do a free trial. It doesn't come with all the features. Obviously, it might be packed for a little bit more, features in terms of colors and fancy things. But if you're looking for something just to model an engine, something you want to do with 3D print, if you're a small business owner, there's no reason for why FreeCAD shouldn't actually meet your needs. And without, this is again another free application that is available to anyone to download right now. It's cross-platform, so it's available for Windows, Mac OS, and also Linux, and it's packed with features. You can design really cool things, kind of like what I'm showing right now. You have really the freedom to build however you want it. You can get in the nitty-gritty details of things. Obviously, in order for you to be able to come up with such a design like this, requires a craft, requires a lot of practice, and most importantly, you got to know what you're doing. So it does require a lot of training. This is the learning curve for something like this is pretty steep, but it's something that anyone can achieve. There's a ton of YouTube videos depending on what you're trying to design, and you can get a little more information on that. My goal today is just at least give you this as a free option, and if you like what you see, then you can download that for free right now. And you can basically create 3D and 2D options or designs. You can do something like that. You can take to somebody can print it in whatever material you want, depends on what you're trying to do. It has also options for integration with other components. This is actually all this designs what I'm showing you on the screen actually was designed using this application, and it really what it comes down to it, right? If you're into product design, if you're into mechanical engineering or architecture, that this is the application is right for you, and it costs nothing to you. It's free open source, and the benefit of that, it's actually serves your best interest. And don't hear, don't want, it actually comes in packed with security and quality, and most importantly, it's free. It's available to you for free today. And just what I like about this application is packed with documentation. So if you go on their website, freecad.org, freecadweb.org, you'll be able to get more information, and then you can actually go to their documentation section, and we'll take you to this page. It's kind of like a wiki page, and it has a lot more information about each one of those releases. You can actually click on each release, and it'll take you to a YouTube video where they talk about the new features. And there's, for folks that like software, there's a ton of documentation, ton of tutorial if you want to find more information and learn about this. And because it's open source, it's also supported by a community. So if you go to their website and go to community, there are a ton of resources and projects, and I'll show you a sample of that in just a second. Here are some screenshots from the documentation of FreeCAD that was designed using this program. This is in the robotics, and obviously you can do simulation on something like that. You can add whatever color you want. Some sort of a construction item. I don't know what that is. It looks like some sort of a submarine. Engines, houses. That looks like some, camera stabilizer of sorts, and a tank. I don't claim, obviously, to know what each one of those represents. Each one of those, probably in its own, it's a discipline. But what I'm trying to show you here is some of the capabilities that you can do with something like FreeCAD out of the box, free of charge, available to you today, right? So this is definitely something to enable your if you're a small business owner trying to put something together, if you want to design your own house, something like that. This is a free way to get started. So yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. As you can see, some of the stuff the community built and sponsored here. As you can see, somebody wanted to do a printable watch for one of the smartwatches, right? So he designed the shape right here in the program itself with all dimensions, and then you feed that into a 3D printer, and then you have real life applications. Another guy just designed the table, or a gal. And then another person here too was basically Raspberry Pi. If you're not familiar with that, look it up. It's pretty cool. It's basically a little bit mini computer there. Runs on Linux, and he basically programmed it to be a camera, and he wanted to create, or he or she wanted to create a little housing for the Raspberry Pi. So designed it in AutoCAD, and here you go. You got yourself a little camera with all the connection, the USB and whatnot. But all designed using this, and here's another real-time, real life application. Another person here. It looks like she may have put together a fridge handle, right? And this was actually, I thought it was pretty interesting. This is person at least trying to put together the design of the steam engine and pump. So they pulled old. This is actual steam engine design that was built back in the day. They acknowledged that actually with this design back in the steam age, they actually had some flaws. So they actually started a crowdsourcing projects. He just dumped the schematics there, and folks started contributing parts, and everybody would take a small piece of the puzzle and build it in FreeCAD, and it looks like still an ongoing project, and they're gonna probably put it all together. So I thought it was kind of interesting. So yeah, that's a little bit of a documentation, but without further ado, this is what really the application looks like, just to give you an overview of what the user interface look like. It's packed with a ton of features. Like I said, for each one of them, there's probably a discipline on its own, so depending on what you're trying to do, there's probably a ton of resources available to you, whether YouTube or Udemy or something like that you can potentially get started on. But yeah, basic functionality, file save, exports, your edit functions, all the different views, all the different tools that you have. You can enable a lot of macros if needed. Here I'm actually, added a robot, so it gives you a robot menu. You can change the trajectory of how the robot is actually interacting in a space. And then a little bit of a help menus, etc. But yeah, these are essentially in this drop down menu here. This is essentially your toolbox and all the things that you can potentially use for your diagram. So just to show you a real life example, this is an engine block, and I'm trying to rotate the picture here. Maybe this is not a good clear example. Let me show you something else. This is the robot that I was talking about. And this is an example that comes out of the box, and I can kind of switch the view, left, right, can go all 360. I can rotate the situation there up and down, and you can apply movements if I want to do some measurements. Okay, what's the distance from this point, or let's say from this point to this point, measures it for you. So yeah, there's a ton of features. These are different kind of views, similar to these buttons, but in this way. And then you can actually step in one of these objects. If you've done any programming, see, I can actually kind of change the robot, the position of the hand, rotate arms up and down. But again, this is just a real example here. This is stuff that you can actually build from scratch. It takes quite a bit of time. It takes quite a bit of precision. But again, if you're into product design, architecture, or something like that, then this is the right application for you. And again, it's available to you for free. So yeah, that's a little bit about FreeCAD. You can also, this is another example here of looks like some sort of a balcony with doors, and just the way I'm rotating it is a little bit tilted, but everything is all measured. This is the architecture detail. You probably, if you bought a house or rented an apartment before, you probably see something like that. So this is sort of application where they build things like that, and you can get pretty detailed. And for every single piece that actually being put on a graph has a measurement, has a place in whether it's 2D or 3D. So it's pretty interesting. And again, if you probably heard the term AutoCAD. Before, and it's pretty popular in these sort of designs. So yeah, but the good news is available to you for free of charge. I believe they started the journey early 2000, so this is fairly new. It's been out for about 10 years or so, but it's open source and it's available to you for free today. So yeah, on that note, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate your time. If you like what you saw, give us the like button and subscribe for more videos to come. Thanks again for joining.